Hey, this is Reviews and Other Stuff, and today I'll be reviewing the new supernatural horror suspense thriller, Pray for the Devil. As always, my review will be illustrated and the artwork is done by myself. The movie stars Jacqueline Byers, Virginia Madsen, Christian Navarro, and Colin Salmon, like Salmon the fish. Okay? Okay. The film is directed by Daniel Stam, who also directed another exorcism film appropriately titled The Last Exorcism from 2010. That's a film I did not see. Now, this is a non spoiler review, so everything I discuss will have been shown in the trailer. Absolutely no spoilers. I'll tell you briefly about the plot, the characters, my pros and cons, final thoughts, and if this is worth checking out at your local movie theater. The plot pertains to Sister Anne, who's had a very traumatic childhood, and now as an adult, she works at St. Michael's, the Archangel School of Exorcism, as a nurse and tending to mentally disturbed patients. She begins to get emotionally attached to one of her patients and starts to build a strong bond with her, and she's determined to help this young girl get rid of the demon that's possessing her. Now, this trailer has been playing endlessly every time I've gone to the movies in the last 2 months, and I like horror films, but they have to be good. And honestly, from the trailer, I wasn't getting good vibes from it, but I was going to check it out regardless in hopes I may be shocked and surprised, and that this movie may actually turn out to be good. Plus, I wanted to watch and review it. Now, horror films have been on such a high for 2022, and I knew the good luck had to eventually end, and it did with the film Smile, and it kind of continues on here as well. Now, this is not a horrible film, but I really found it to be average at best. So this leads me to my first pro, which is the cast and the performances. Everyone in this film is great. No one is phoning it in, and everyone is really doing the best they can with the script they have to work with. Everyone is very likable and has good screen presence, and I feel the film is really saved by the main lead. She's very likable, just extremely likable, and comes off very friendly. She really conveys through her performance a sense of warmth and care for her patients, and has a very likable and relatable personality. She feels like the girl next door who's your very best friend, and you can say just about anything to her. I thought she was perfectly cast and really holding everything together through her performance. She was great at conveying her concern and care for her patients, and it translated well on screen. And her performance is really the only thing working for me in this film. Now, my first con is, and I do have several issues, and the first being the script. The movie doesn't really elevate the exorcism genre into any new levels. There aren't any surprises in store and no twists and turns to keep you engaged throughout. I wasn't bored when watching this movie, but I wasn't exactly sitting on the edge of my seat either. There are a few jump scares here and there, but not that many, and the scares didn't work either. For the most part, the movie did hold my attention throughout, and I never looked at my watch during the film. Now, my second con is the tone of the film. It honestly felt like a drama film with some supernatural elements thrown in. And that isn't necessarily a bad thing, but at the same time, the supernatural elements in the film aren't anything really inventive, and some of the CGI really hampered it because you could tell it wasn't actual practical effects. Therefore, it took away from the scary atmosphere it was trying to create. It felt like a Resident Evil video game during some of those scenes. And for the drama aspect of the film, there just wasn't enough drama going on for it to be a good drama film. And on top of that, for a horror suspense thriller, it doesn't really have a tense, anxiety inducing vibe to it where you find yourself clenching your hands and biting your nails. There aren't any real suspenseful moments or thrills of any kind. It just failed at being whatever genre it tried to be. Now, my third con is the film has a reveal and a twist at one point in the film, and one of the characters makes a reveal which I saw coming from a mile away as soon as the reveal was let loose. Then, when we finally get to the twist, there is absolutely no impact or wow of any kind. I don't know if this was intentional from the director or if the scene was edited that way to not have any impact. It was just dead and pointless. I don't even think the reveal and the twist was necessary at all. If it was added in to make the audience have some sort of emotional connection, then it failed miserably at that as well. Now, my fourth con are the supernatural elements. It seemed to be happening for the sake of having them happen because this is a supernatural film. It really didn't provide any context on any level, And I feel there were so many inventive things happening in the film, but it just never materialized to anything of substance. There are bizarre things that happen to the main character that just go unexplained. There's no closure or explanation of any kind. And this brings me to my last con of the film. And this film has a bad habit that a lot of other horror films have that they've been doing ever since the early 2000s, which is the PG-13 rating. I think this really prevented it from being as edgy as it could have been. The rating really hinders the film from being its best self, and it's unfortunate because the rating is its own worst enemy. I don't want to spoil anything, but along with the PG-13 rating, it does something that so many horror suspense films have been doing since the 2000s, which pertains to setup and closure. And that is all I will say as to not ruin the film for anyone. So this brings me to my final thoughts, and this film gets a 5 out of 10 from me. It's not a horrible film by any means. It's actually competent and well made, and it actually reminded me a lot of Smile in the sense that it was just average when so many horror films prior to it in 2022 were on a high and exceeded expectations. But I think we all knew it had to come to an end eventually. So I would recommend you check out this film if you're a huge horror suspense fan and like the exorcism genre. Unfortunately, this ends up being your basic run of the mill exorcism film. It's not slick or inventive in any way, nor does it take any new risk. It's nothing like The Exorcism of Emily Rose from 2005, which I felt was so well made and underrated. Now, if you want a superior horror suspense film, I would recommend The Black Phone or Barbarian, both of which I reviewed on my channel, so feel free to check it out. Now, I hope you enjoyed this review. Also, if you like, please subscribe, helps the channel out a lot. Hit that thumbs up button. Feel free to share this with your friends. I try to make a video once a week if I can. Thanks so much, and thanks for checking out my review. Hope you enjoyed it, and leave your comments below on whether you like the film or not. And I hope the pictures put a smile on your face.